afternoon, all, and thank you so much for being here with us. Today, we start an exciting week for the SIDS Center of Excellence. As Ambassador will detail, there will be a number of announcements coming out this week to show the great progress that the Center of Excellence has made since it was formally announced during the SIDS 4 conference in Antigua and Barbuda. We have here on our panel Ambassador Jane Waetara, who is the Ambassador and Permanent Representative for the Solomon Islands. His Excellency Walton Webson, Ambassador and Permanent Representatives for Antigua and Barbuda. And His Excellency Falefou, who's the Ambassador and Permanent Representative for Tuvalu. So as you can see, we have SIDS coming from different regions on the stage here with us to talk about a milestone coming out of the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS. And let me help to frame the session before I invite our panelists. This session will unveil the SIDS Center of Excellence as well as the importance of data. It will talk about the transformative platform for resilient prosperity born out of the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS. It is anchored in our 4 pillars here at Public Foundation: technology, nature, capital, and multilateralism. This panel will look at the benefit for SIDS. How do we distribute that mechanism for innovation? How do we link this to that wider ecosystem of data and capital strategies? And with that, I want to start with Ambassador Webson. Ambassador, the SIDS Center of Excellence was created to provide island nations like Antigua and Barbuda, Tuvalu, Solomon Islands with tools and infrastructure they need to lead on their own terms. From your perspective, how does this initiative strengthen capacity, sovereign capacity, and why is it critical for SIDS today?
Thank you very much, Ashaki. Is it on?
Yes, yeah. It's on, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. The SIDS Center of Excellence, we believe, is the new instrument, an instrument that's born out of Abbas, as you said, the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS. But more importantly, it's the instrument that we believe that is made by SIDS for SIDS. As an instrument that will move us from the decades of strategic thinking into building a platform for centuries or for the next century ahead. Certainly, we need to fulfill our promise from resilience, prosperity in small islands. The problem we're trying to solve is to move from just being a recipient of aid and charity, if you might, into a partnership and a relationship with global institutions, a relationships with private partners and funders who can move us together, not see us as recipient of aid, but see us as partners in this prosperity. One of your earlier speakers, just very quickly, spoke of investment into basically the social infrastructure, and that investment would return to small islands and to the investor much more hope, removing dependency into an area of global participation. And that's where Small Islands is aiming, and that's what this center is being built for. It opens up SIDS at all across the globe for the first time, creating an institution by SIDS, for SIDS, that will work together with global partners in transforming society in these islands.
Thank you, Ambassador Webson. Ambassador Falefou, I'd love to hear your thoughts on, coming from the PSIDS perspective. Of course, Tuvalu is the current chair of the PSIDS grouping. How is an initiative like this important for PSIDS today?
Testing. Let me start off by thanking public for allowing me to be part of this panel discussion. And thank you, Ashaki, for moderating our session. For Tuvalu and other Pacific SIDS, the reality of climate change is immediate and severe, with sea level rising, threatening our very existence. A center of excellence dedicated for SIDS is crucial at this juncture to amplify our unique perspectives and ensure that the strategies developed are grounded in the lived experience and specific needs of our communities. It would act as a beacon of innovation, tailored research policy development, enabling us to harness bespoke solutions that can address our vulnerabilities. With such a center, we can lead the charge in pioneering adaptive measures and sustainable practices that resonate with the culture and environment context of the SIDS, ultimately positioning us to not only navigate the crisis, but also to set precedent for resilience and living sustainably.
Thank you, Ambassador. And as we mentioned earlier, the SIDS Center of Excellence, it is one of the hallmarks of the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for small island developing states, adopted in 2024. Ambassador Waetara, of course, world leaders highlighted the pressing need for strategic partnerships, innovative solutions, and data-driven decision-making to navigate the complex challenges faced by SIDS, and our colleague spoke about that earlier. As an informed representative of the Solomon Islands here at the UN, could you provide some insights on what this means for you as a Pacific SID, but as a SID in general, in your advancing of resilience and prosperity?
Thank you for this opportunity to be part of the panel. Solomon Islands and the Pacific Island countries are members of the SIDS, and they recognize as one of the, they have a very unique circumstances which we are faced with. And Abbas underscores the specific and the unique vulnerabilities that SIDS face due to their very small sizes, remoteness, and external economic shocks, of course, and impact of climate change as well. The Abbas, of course, it challenges us to move beyond the rhetoric into practical action and strengthen resilience and sovereignty. It provides a comprehensive roadmap for achieving sustainable development for small island developing countries over the next decade. And in terms of its practical, what it means in terms of practice, it has there are a number of very direct impact in that regard. I will just make reference to a couple. In terms of livelihoods for Solomon Islands, over 80% of the people live in the rural coastal areas. So geospatial and climate data will help map the vulnerabilities of the coastline, monitor the sea level rise, and also safeguard fisheries, which is one of the major resources for small island developing countries, not only for their livelihoods, but also for economic development as well. In terms of disaster resilience, Pacific Island countries are one of the most prone to natural disasters. Let me just share a few examples. From my own country, in 2014, we had flash floods that killed 22 people and displaced thousands of people, including damaging households as well. In 2020, Cyclone Harold caused 27 deaths and extensive damage. in Vanuatu, another neighboring SIDS country. It also experienced cyclone very regularly. In 2015, they experienced a cyclone, and then in 2023, it experienced 2 cyclones. One was in March, and a twin cyclone in October 2023. And this, of course, it led to a lot of damage in terms of infrastructure, livelihood, crops, and impact on the population. These incidents relates to or reveal that there is gap in early warning and disaster data. And better data would help improve in terms of the weather, giving knowledge to the people, climate monitoring, and early warning, including adaptation and planning for the rural people or the people of these small island countries as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. And that gives us a good segue into this question I want to ask Ambassador Webson. The data hubs and the distributed technologies are at the heart of the center's vision. How do you see these tools enabling small island developing states to leapfrog the traditional barriers, whether it's in finance, resilience, or climate adaptation? And those things we heard from Ambassador Waetara before. How do these data hubs and the distributed technologies help to create solutions? And not just solutions, but solutions that are scalable globally.
Thank you. The center, Ashaki, stands on 4 tenets or 4 pillars that all link with and dependent on the data capacity and the ability to access and own our own data, which helps us in development. In fact, what you're talking about is a new form of development, a development that moves from aid and dependency into a development that speaks about ownership, leadership, and management of your own infrastructure. And what this data hub, which is one of the main pillars in the center, will allow us to do is to leapfrog the development patterns of the past and move into 21st century strategies for development. So we would be looking at new ways in dealing with agriculture, new ways in dealing with the blue economy and financing the ecosystem that drives the blue economy for small islands. We'll be looking at doing that and building the technology on the islands that will allow us to partner with international, with other multilateral organizations and with global institutions and with international funders and partners. We will be talking about investing in the future of the island rather than responding to a disaster. We will be talking about using the center as our, if you might, twin engine. One engine for technology that drives it, one engine for data that allows the fuel of the technology to move it.
Thank you, Ambassador. And I hear the point on partnerships, and I think as our time is coming to a close here on the stage, I want to give Ambassador Falefou and Ambassador Waetara an opportunity to elaborate on, just as you said, that importance of partnerships. The Center of Excellence is only as strong as partnerships that will be needed to sustain it. Ambassador Falefou, what role do you see for governments, for UN agencies, for family offices, and other multilateral partners in ensuring that the Center of Excellence delivers and ensures that it is sustainable for SIDS?
Well, thank you. Strategic partnerships are the cornerstone of a successful Center for Excellence. For small island developing countries like Tuvalu, even within the SIDS, we have seen the tangible benefits of collaborating with various entities like the EU and the private sector, you name it, on projects like solar energy installation and development of early warning system. the center can really elevate these kinds of partnership to a new level by creating a more collaborative ecosystem where SIDS can contribute invaluably using their local insights, while the partners from the UN, private sector, and philanthropic organizations can infuse the initiatives with cutting-edge technology, like what we just heard from the two GIS speakers who spoke eloquently about the importance of having this technology, because this really helps our decision makers. This collaborative approach, I suppose, is very important because it can accelerate the pace of innovation and implementation in small island countries like us in the Pacific, and of course in other regions of the SIDS, to ensure that the solutions are not only effective but also equitable and sustainable for us.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Falefou. Ambassador Waetara? Anything from you on the partnership side? Especially know that the Solomon Islands has taken over the chair of the Pacific Island Forum. So you will be one of the key drivers in the Pacific region when it comes to SIDS initiatives, partnerships. How do you view bringing all of these players together and how they can really help to advance the SIDS agenda, the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS?
Thank you for that question. For the Pacific Islands, and I believe the SIDS as well as small island countries, partnerships is very important and it couldn't be emphasized more. I think it is the importance of not only recognizing it and symbolic, but it should be long-term and more action-oriented, as well as durable. And in terms of capacity building is very important, and I echo the sentiment that was shared by a colleague from Antigua and Barbuda. And those are important initiatives which are getting closer in terms of closing the gaps and as well as supporting SIDS in that initiative, including the Pacific Island countries as well. And for the Pacific Island countries, that is also an important area that is reflected under the 2050 strategy for the Pacific Blue Ocean. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Closing the gaps. And I want to give the last word to Ambassador Webson. Ambassador, I started off this session by mentioning that this is a big week for you and for the Center of Excellence. And perhaps you can just tell us a little. This was not part of the script, but I think the audience that we have here, we do want to mention some of the things that the Center of Excellence will be doing this week, because I know there's some big announcements coming. So perhaps if you can give us a teaser.
Thank you very much. Well, I will begin by saying the Center of Excellence is, again, a new institution developed by SIDS for SIDS. This week, we are formally opening the Center of Excellence in a high-level launch on Thursday with the United Nations teams, along with the international partners, and along with our rest of the AOSIS leaders. So we intend to have a really high-level launch or opening. We will then have a formal groundbreaking opening where the physical home of the center will be in Antigua and Barbuda later this year, and that then begins to really move the ball rolling. Having said that, we have not been waiting for physical openings and so on. The data hub has started its work, started training, started beginning to develop and put the capacity into the islands themselves. And that we continue with several areas of training this year. The second level is we're moving our Island Investment Forum, which will link investors to the island, and that we expect to begin in 2026. We're also opening a program with technical assistance with small islands to address the questions of responding to debt and the critical areas of climate finance, and we are partnering with the international community to address that. And that begins in 2026. And our technology, working with the public foundation, along with the data, we are working on creating new opportunities in technology. So the Center of Excellence has been built on these 4 pillars of data, technology, island investment, and what we call the DSSS, that is a response, in our words, to the debt crisis that we face, and to address that for small islands, so that we don't have to make a choice between paying debt and servicing schools and supporting our children, and that choice will no longer be one of the sort of trap that we are found in, that we are creating opportunities for islands and for our leaders to be able to make choice based on credible information, backed with data, and be able to address the issues of development with hope, rather than asking for charity to advance our thinking and our possibilities for capacity development.
Ambassadors, Excellencies, thank you so much for being here with us. Colleagues, today we heard that we have moved beyond announcements. We had announcements last year at the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS 4 conference. We have been working hard to move to implementation. We heard about the importance of data, especially when it comes to things like early warning systems, affecting the lives of our people, not just people in the coastal areas, but far afield. So I want to thank your Excellencies for being here with us. We know this is an extremely busy period for you, but thank you for sensitizing us on the work that you're doing in your areas. Thank you so much.